Brittney Griner made contact with Caitlin Clark on 2 separate occasions, and both times the officials had a clear view of the play, yet somehow no whistle came. For fans who've been following the WNBA over the last couple of seasons, this kind of controversy isn't exactly unfamiliar. Despite all the controversy, the Indiana Fever still took care of business, defeating the opposition 85-75. But the victory didn't erase the bigger conversation. Now the spotlight shifts to the league itself, with criticism surrounding WNBA officiating growing louder. Many fans are asking the same question: what needs to change to improve the consistency and accountability of the referees? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What should the WNBA do to address the concerns surrounding officiating?
But Caitlin Clark was getting grabbed the entire game and didn't get one free throw. Not one. She also got hit in the lip, had a little bloody lip going on before any of this even started, but she balled out. 25 points, 10 for 17 shooting, 5 3 balls. This is the best Caitlin Clark we've ever seen.
Let's talk about the free throw numbers first, because they paint a pretty revealing picture of how this game was officiated. Caitlin Clark ended the night with 25 points and not a single trip to the free throw line. 0 attempts. Despite attacking the basket, fighting through contact off screens, and taking hits while pulling up for jumpers, she never once heard the whistle in her favor. No matter how much physical play she endured, the officials didn't send her to the stripe. On the other side, the Connecticut Sun finished with 9 free throw attempts, and that's where the frustration started building for a lot of viewers. Some of the fouls that put Connecticut at the line appeared far less severe than the contact Clark absorbed throughout the game without getting a call. During the game, Clark was assessed a technical foul, but not long after, the WNBA reviewed the play and determined that the original ruling wasn't correct. The technical was officially changed to a team delay of game violation, effectively acknowledging that the initial call had been made in error.
It's a delay for her. She poked the ball out of bounds, she kicked it, and then went and got it. That's a delay of game. She hustled after it to go pick it up.
They're going to get her for the kick, is what they're going to say.
Connecticut's opportunities at the free throw line played a major role in keeping the game within reach, especially during stretches when many Indiana fans felt the Fever should have been getting those same chances instead. The Fever managed to build their advantage to 11 points, but every time it looked like they were about to put the game out of reach, something shifted. Costly turnovers handed the Sun extra possessions, and questionable whistles seemed to halt Indiana's momentum just as they were preparing to deliver the knockout blow. After the game, Caitlin Clark pointed to how quickly things could spiral. One small mistake could trigger a chain reaction, a missed shot turning into a turnover, followed by an easy transition basket for Connecticut. Those sequences prevented Indiana from fully taking control, even when they appeared to have the upper hand. As for the physical matchups involving Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark, similar moments have sparked debate among fans in previous seasons as well. By this point, many viewers felt they had seen versions of this story before. Even so, the controversy surrounding this game still managed to catch people off guard and reignite questions about how these situations are being handled on the court.
We have heard nothing from the WNBA, absolutely nothing.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, white girl.
The WNBA should investigate Brittney Griner seemingly uttering profanities about white.
Think back to the 2025 season when Brittney Griner was with the Atlanta Dream. One sequence in particular quickly became a major talking point among fans. During the game, Griner made forceful contact with Caitlin Clark in a play that many viewers argued went beyond routine physical basketball. To them, it didn't resemble a standard screen or accidental collision. Instead, it looked like the kind of contact that often results in a whistle, but no foul was called.
Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here. For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm gonna tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a complete white girl.
Then came the June 13th matchup, and for many fans watching, it felt like a familiar story unfolding all over again. The first controversial moment happened during a screen action involving Brittney Griner. From the perspective of many viewers, Griner appeared to still be moving as the contact occurred, with her positioning raising questions about whether the screen was set legally. It's the type of play that often draws scrutiny from officials because moving screens are typically among the more straightforward calls to make. This time, however, no whistle came.
Just her second. Take a look right here. Oh. Brittney Griner not going through her body. Should that qualifies as one of those.
What makes Brittney Griner's physical style so impactful isn't just the contact itself. It's the way it can throw off Caitlin Clark's entire offensive rhythm. Clark is at her most dangerous when she's able to use her quickness to create space, navigate screens cleanly, receive the ball in stride, and get her shot off before defenders have time to recover. That's where her timing becomes almost impossible to defend. But when that movement is interrupted by repeated physical contact that goes unpenalized, every possession becomes more of a battle. Instead of flowing naturally into the offense, Clark is forced to fight for positioning, regain her balance, and manufacture opportunities that would normally come more easily. Every shot suddenly requires extra effort. Even with those challenges, she still delivered an outstanding performance. Clark finished the night 10 for 17 from the field and knocked down 5 of her 10 attempts from beyond the arc. She found ways to score, but none of those baskets came without resistance. In the eyes of many fans, she absorbed enough contact throughout the game to warrant multiple trips to the free throw line that never materialized.
And then Caitlin Clark takes 2 forearms from Griner and they call a foul on Caitlin Clark. It gets way worse. Stay with me. Caitlin Clark grabs the ball, hits a logo, huge shot when they needed it the most. But then guess what happens? Brittney Griner leads with her shoulder, takes out Caitlin Clark. No foul. You can't make this crap up. Caitlin Clark's dealt with this her whole career. Look at this crap.
2 seasons, 2 different teams. Yet for many fans, the storyline felt almost identical. The physical battles involving Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark continued to spark debate, and the officiating responses seemed to leave Indiana supporters with the same frustrations they had voiced before. Eventually, it appeared the Fever stopped expecting the whistles to change and instead focused on finding ways to win regardless of how the game was being called. Then you look at Clark's stat line from the June 13th matchup, and it almost doesn't seem real. She finished with 25 points, shot an efficient 10 of 17 from the field, connected on 5 of her 10 3-point attempts, and added 5 assists. What stands out the most though? 0 free throw attempts, not 1 trip to the line. Those numbers weren't built by standing several feet behind the arc and settling for uncontested jumpers all night. Clark attacked the defense aggressively. She drove into traffic, worked 2-player actions with Aaliyah Boston, fought her way into the paint, and absorbed contact while trying to finish at the rim.
And this is going to be the balance for the Sun team, because you look at the pieces, they have very good defenders, and they're going to want to do their best to create some turnovers here.
Clark, quickly, you can count it. Speaking of who's back, Brittney Griner, no good on her first attempt. And the Fever love to run.
You saw through the unrivaled season, and now it's a huge part of what Indiana can bring offensively.
Clark likes to shoot going left and does.
Let's take a closer look at how Caitlin Clark's offense came together in this game, because her shooting performance from beyond the arc deserves serious attention. Clark knocked down 5 of her 10 3-point attempts, finishing the night at an impressive 50% from deep. And what makes that even more remarkable is the fact that the Connecticut Sun entered the game determined to limit her perimeter opportunities. They knew exactly who they needed to stop and built their defensive game plan around taking away her outside shot. It didn't matter. After Connecticut jumped out to an early 4-0 lead, Clark immediately shifted the momentum. She buried a deep step-back 3 that brought the Fever to life, then followed it up by attacking the basket for a layup. In just a few possessions, she reminded everyone why defending her is such a difficult assignment.
Clark was so good at attacking the rim on Thursday. Shot 15 free throws. He's hit a couple threes here tonight. Boston just waltzes up the middle.
While Caitlin Clark grabbed most of the headlines, Aaliyah Boston quietly played a massive role in Indiana's success and provided the stability the Fever needed on both ends of the floor. Boston finished the game with a double-double, recording 13 points and 11 rebounds, and her impact went far beyond the basic numbers. Her work on the offensive glass repeatedly extended possessions at critical moments, giving Indiana valuable second chances that the Connecticut Sun simply couldn't afford to surrender. That's what makes this partnership so dangerous. Clark's playmaking and scoring ability forced defenses to make impossible choices, while Boston's positioning, finishing, and rebounding punish teams that hesitate for even a second. Against Connecticut, that combination once again proved to be a problem without an easy answer.
So hard off the ball to get open. Multiple defenders with length all game.
Got clock down to 5. She somehow found Mitchell, who just circles around. Mitchell's got to get it up. Oh, yeah!
What a play!
He does it the hard.
As impressive as Caitlin Clark's night was, she wasn't carrying the load by herself. Kelsey Mitchell delivered another strong performance, finishing with 19 points and 5 assists. On most nights, a stat line like that would dominate the post-game conversation. Mitchell took full advantage of the defensive attention Clark attracts, finding driving lanes, creating offense, and capitalizing on the extra space that opens up when opponents focus on slowing Indiana's biggest star. It's exactly how the Fever envisioned this offense functioning, and against Connecticut, that formula helped build a lead that grew to as many as 11 points. Monique Billings also made her presence felt in ways that don't always make highlight reels, but often determine who wins and loses. Starting in the front court, she contributed 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks, bringing toughness and energy to the paint. Clark finished with 6 turnovers, while Indiana committed 19 turnovers as a team, a number that's difficult to overcome against quality opponents. The sloppiness started early too. The Fever gave the ball away 5 times in the opening quarter, and Connecticut quickly turned those mistakes into 10 points. Those extra opportunities kept the Sun within striking distance. What could have developed into a 15 or even 20-point cushion never quite reached that point. Although Connecticut never managed to reclaim the lead, they stayed close enough to ensure Indiana couldn't simply cruise through the final stretch. Instead of comfortably managing the game, the Fever had to keep responding until the final minutes to secure the victory.
Traffic, but it's the strength of just being really aggressive and attacking the basket.
Clark finding her way. Oh, looked at the rim. Gets her right back to Clark. To the cup. Here. Clark has Lacan on her. That's been the matchup so far. Fading. Scoring.
Caitlin Clark put together a 25-point performance without earning a single trip to the free throw line, and that's the part of the stat sheet that continues to leave people stunned. It's not just about opinions or emotional reactions from fans. The numbers themselves stand out. A player who spends that much time creating off the dribble, driving into the paint, and initiating contact, finishing with 0 free throw attempts is bound to raise questions about how the game was officiated. Even with Clark's heroics, Indiana still needed someone to step up in the closing moments. That's where Sophie Cunningham came through. After missing the previous game against the Chicago Sky due to what the team officially described as right elbow soreness, Cunningham returned against Connecticut and immediately made her presence felt when it mattered most. With the game still hanging in the balance, she erupted for 11 points in the final 2 minutes, shooting an incredible 4 of 5 from the field during that stretch. Every basket seemed to arrive at exactly the right time, helping the Fever slam the door shut on any hopes of a Connecticut comeback. The speculation surrounding Sophie Cunningham's absence didn't appear out of nowhere. It can be traced back to the Fever's matchup against the Washington Mystics, when Caitlin Clark buried a dramatic buzzer beater, and the celebration that followed quickly became a talking point of its own. The scene felt spontaneous, emotional, and a little chaotic. Fans began dissecting every angle of the footage, paying particular attention to Cunningham's involvement during the celebration. Before long, theories started circulating online. Then, just 1 game later, Cunningham was ruled out out with what the team officially listed as right elbow soreness, only adding more fuel to the ongoing speculation. To this point, head coach Stephanie White has not publicly confirmed or denied any rumors beyond the team's official injury designation. Cunningham herself has also not directly addressed the theories that have been circulating among fans. What really reignited the conversation, though, came after the Connecticut game. During the post-game media session, a reporter asked Clark about Cunningham's impact in her return to the lineup. Clark responded with a smile and joked, "Well, she's got a new elbow." Then she followed it up with a wink.
11 points from Sophie in the last 2 minutes. What was going through your mind as you watched that?
Well, she's got a new elbow, so she was telling everybody that she was going to make 3 threes tonight. I wasn't so sure about it there until the last 5 minutes, but I guess she held true to her word. Just really proud of her. She works really hard and somebody that we need down the stretch for sure.
Whether Stephanie White was simply managing an injury or there was another reason behind Sophie Cunningham's absence, one thing became crystal clear the moment she stepped back on the floor against Connecticut. She looked like a player with a point to prove. The Connecticut sun had started creeping back into the game. Indiana's turnovers were giving them extra opportunities. The momentum was beginning to shift, and what had once been a comfortable lead suddenly felt far less secure. The Fever desperately needed someone to stop the slide before things got out of control. She checked into the game and immediately caught fire, knocking down 3 straight three-pointers before attacking the basket for a layup. In the blink of an eye, Indiana ripped off an 11-0 run that completely flipped the atmosphere and effectively shut the door on Connecticut's comeback hopes.
Clark pitches it to Boston. They go back to Cunningham. This time, she takes it all the way. 30 seconds to go. This Fever team showing poise down the stretch.
By the time her night was over, Cunningham had gone 3 for 4 from beyond the arc in just 18 minutes of action, delivering one of the most impactful stretches of the game despite her limited minutes. The value Sophie Cunningham brings alongside Caitlin Clark isn't difficult to understand. It's one of the reasons she's become such an important piece of Indiana's rotation. After missing significant time last season because of a knee injury, questions naturally followed regarding her durability and how consistently she'd be available moving forward. Those concerns didn't disappear overnight. However, her performance against Connecticut went a long way toward easing them. Coming off the bench and exploding for 11 points in a 2-minute stretch against a Sun team fighting to claw its way back into the game was about as convincing a response as anyone could ask for. If there were doubts about whether Cunningham could still provide timely shooting, toughness, and game-changing energy,
Sophie, 2 huge threes in the final 2 minutes. This team was desperate for some offense. How were you able to step up and deliver?
I mean, you just have to stay ready. I think in the first half, there's, you're open, but, your teammates are going off too, so you got to give them their flowers, and then you just have to stay ready. And then, minutes are up and down. You play, then you miss a game, and so it can get frustrating at times, but you just have to stay your course, run your race, and I did that, and it was my time to hit my shot, so I did it.
She answered them emphatically. When Indiana needed someone to step up in a high-pressure moment, she delivered without hesitation. Caitlin Clark has a unique ability to bend an entire defense around her. She draws extra defenders, forces help rotations, and creates split-second decisions that opponents have to make under pressure. And when those rotations come, Sophie Cunningham is exactly the type of player you want waiting on the perimeter. She doesn't hesitate. Against Connecticut on June 13th, that formula worked to perfection. The Fever secured an 85-75 victory, extended their winning streak to 3 games, improved to 8-5 overall, and moved to 3-1 in Commissioner's Cup play. In a move that immediately caught people's attention, Clark specifically referenced referee Tyler Merkovich during the media session. That's something players rarely do publicly. Why? Because the league has rules regarding public criticism of officials, and players understand.
Technical, I didn't need an explanation. I deserved it, but it was worth it. The delay of game made no sense. It felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous. So that just not a point in the game he needed to call that. I went and got the ball, went off my foot off the scores table, and then he gave us a delay game, which is a team technical foul. So
You can ask Tyler. I don't agree with that.
There can be consequences for crossing that line. Clark knows those expectations as well as anyone. The moment Caitlin Clark focused on most during her post-game comments was the delay of game technical foul, the very call the league later reviewed and changed. Speaking to reporters, she said, "The delay of game made no sense. It felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous." So you can ask Tyler. I don't agree with that. Those weren't comments made in the heat of the moment immediately after a play. Clark had time to think about what she wanted to say before stepping behind the microphone, fully aware that publicly criticizing officiating can come with consequences in professional sports. Even so, she chose to voice her frustration, and for many people following the game, the discussion extended beyond that single technical foul. It became part of a much larger conversation. Clark finished with 25 points without attempting a single free throw despite repeatedly attacking the basket. The technical foul she received was later adjusted by the league. Several physical plays involving Brittney Griner and Clark generated heavy debate among fans and analysts, with many questioning whether certain actions should have resulted in whistles. Meanwhile, Connecticut attempted 9 free throws, adding another layer to the scrutiny surrounding how the game was officiated.
Also, Caitlin Clark had to come at the coach, say he was chirping all night, chirping. Hold on, look at this, man. So you got Caitlin right there, look, shushing him, giving him the shush. Oh my goodness, look. he like, hey man, take her up. Look. Look, he's still crying. Look, she's shushing me.
Stephanie White's post-game media session carried an unusual tone of its own. Alongside the growing debate over officiating, she also addressed reports suggesting there was tension or unrest within the Fever locker room. White firmly pushed back against those narratives, describing the outside speculation as unfair and irresponsible. At one point, White acknowledged Caitlin Clark's stat line of 25 points and 5 assists, offering a simple, "Good job, C." Just 3 words. And to be fair, 6 turnovers is a number worth examining, but even among people who acknowledge that flaw in Clark's game, another question continued to linger. How does a player score 25 points while consistently attacking the defense and still finish with 0 free throw attempts? That's the part of the equation many fans keep returning to. You can debate the turnovers, you can disagree with Clark's comments, you can have different opinions about how physical the game should be, but the numbers themselves remain part of the story, and for a lot of people, they're difficult to ignore.
So Caitlin celebrating, ice in the veins. Come on, dog. Then watch this, look. Telling the man bye-bye. And then shush it again, look. She's gonna go to the sideline. You gonna see what she was saying. He was saying to her, look, run his mouth all effing game. I told him bye-bye.
Caitlin Clark has never really approached officiating like this before. Throughout the season, she's been asked about questionable calls multiple times, and her responses have always been controlled, careful, and diplomatic. Aaliyah Boston is anchoring the paint with consistent double-doubles. Kelsey Mitchell is thriving off the attention Clark draws, turning space into 19-point performances. Sophie Cunningham is closing games in short bursts that completely shift momentum, and Monique Billings is doing the gritty rebounding work that rarely shows up in highlights but absolutely matters on the scoreboard. Meanwhile, Clark has now recorded back-to-back 25-point games for only the 2nd time in her career, quietly putting herself back into the MVP conversation, whether that discussion is fully embraced or not. Across the league, teams saw her drop 25 points with 0 free throw attempts against a defense that played extremely physical and leaned heavily into contact all night, and yet she still got it done. So now the bigger conversation remains: what should the WNBA do to address the ongoing concerns about officiating consistency? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates like this. Click the video on screen and we'll see you in the next one.